Hello, Pastor Jeff Gravens here. I just wanted to spend a few minutes giving you a preview of the sermon on Sunday. On Sunday, we will conclude our series, Raised with Christ, where we've been looking at Colossians chapter 3, verses 1 through 4. And over the course of the last 7 weeks, we've been taking words out of that passage, and we've been setting them in the context of the passage and in the context of your life. In this 8th and final week, we will zoom out of Colossians chapter 3, verses 1 through 4, and we will look at the bigger picture of the entire chapter. We'll look at the bigger picture of Colossians chapter 3. And when we see that big picture, we see Christ-like living. We see the blueprint for God to produce Christ-likeness in you. And I'll tell you, this chapter is extremely helpful. It's theologically rich. We see God producing fruit in you, but we also see how helpful it is. Just yesterday, I had a man in my office. It was only the second time we had ever met. The first time we met, it was a completely casual circumstance. But yesterday, he was in my office, and we were discussing real life. We were discussing brokenness in his life. And as he was describing it to me, as I was trying to be helpful, I said, hold on a minute. Can I play the role of pastor? Can I Bible thump for a minute? And I got up from my side of the table, and I walked around to his side of the table, and I opened up my Bible, and we walked through Colossians chapter 3. I showed him what it takes for God to produce Christ-likeness in you. If you look at chapter 3, you should know the first 4 verses very well, where we are instructed to set our hearts and minds on things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. If we've been raised with Christ, if God has raised us from death to life, we are to set our hearts and minds on things above. But then in verse 5, we're told to put to death the things of earth. Put to death the things of earth. We don't put the things of earth in a timeout. We don't put the things of earth in the corner. We don't put the things of earth in detention. No, we put to death the things of earth. And then verse 12, we are told to put on the things of Christ. Now we're really getting somewhere. We're cooking with grease. We're told in the entirety of the chapter to set our hearts and minds on things above, to put to death the things of earth, and to put on the things of Christ. And then in verse 15, we're told to do all of this in community. Verse 15 begins a discussion on the church. So now we see the bigger picture. Set our hearts and minds on things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Put to death the things of earth. Put on the things of Christ. And do all of this in Christian community. I hope you'll be here to hear more on Sunday. In fact, I pray that you'll be here, and I pray that you invite a friend. Let's fill the sanctuary. Have a blessed week. I'll see you Sunday.